What is up, Foos family? All right, finally back at making some videos here again, and I have an awesome product that we're gonna be going over. I'm gonna explain the installation in this video. I'm going to do a whole bunch of videos on this thing because it is out of this world crazy cool. So we have the newest and improved Foos Fit. For those of you that haven't seen this or weren't at Worlds, the World Championships, you don't really probably know what this is. You don't have a clue how this thing works. Well, basically it's a robot. We have a robot for the foosball table. It can play defense for us. It can't play back against us. However, it can do different types of defenses. It can even do defenses of top pro masters from matches tens of years ago. Tens of years, whatever. So, this thing is awesome. Great people over at Foos Fit. They sent this over to me to check out. Like I said, a bunch of videos are coming down the road for this. What are we doing today? Today's just the install. I'm gonna show you what everything is, how it comes out, and how it goes on my table number 2. Table number 1 is gonna be my practice table most of the time, but table number 2 here is definitely gonna have Foos Fit set up for it for pretty much the foreseeable future. Now, is Foos Fit for everybody? Yeah, it's gonna be for everybody. You're gonna wanna get one. If you have that burning desire to become a great foosball player, you wanna play tournaments, this will help you. It's not it might help you, it not might be for some people. This 100% will help you. There is no question about it. So let's jump on and let me show you the basics. All right guys, we're gonna jump right into the box here. First you're gonna see these 2 Ethernet cords. These connect the different boxes there. Now this is one of those 2 boxes. You'll have 2 of these, one for each motor. Those things are pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. Here you're gonna find all the extra parts, the pegs, the covers for the table itself. Here's another one of those boxes. Those identifier numbers are pretty important. These here are the risers, guys. This is what actually attaches to the rods. And then this is the powerhouse behind everything. This is the motor itself that attaches to the top of your table. This thing is awesome, guys. I cannot wait to show you how all of this works. All right, everybody, so step 1. And I'm going to probably do this in a different order than even they tell you to necessarily do it, but that's just how my brain works. And I have to do things the way I think everybody else is going to install them. So first, you're gonna find these. These are the workhorse of everything. This is everything all in one, so to speak. This is what's gonna control the rods for you. So what you're gonna do is you're going to back this screw out all the way. I'm gonna make sure you guys can see that, right? This bad boy, back that out all the way. And it's going to set right on here. Now these little pads are gonna keep your table nice and safe, okay? They're gonna slide right down. Oop, we're gonna have to back that out even more, huh? Boy, that thing's gotta come way out, okay. All right, and you're gonna want to make sure that you line this piece here, this circular piece, guys. I'm gonna show that to you. Right there, that's gonna need to stay lined up with the rod. So when you're doing this, make sure that this can kind of slide over a little bit so it's lined up perfectly with the rod, okay? As best you can. And that's gonna be pretty much step 1 right there. We're gonna lock that in. That's fantastic. All right. Now you're gonna do that for both spots. Come over here, get the second one lined up. Ooh, I kind of like that better. Back this bad boy out. Now I will say I see some like stringing and stuff in some weird places. Keep in mind, guys, these are 3D printed. So they had to go in to begin with. You'll be able to make it happen. And then just like you did with the other one, get it lined up best you can to stay right over top of that. All right. Now that we have both of those on, and make sure you get these all tightened up, guys, because this has to stay tight. I feel like this one needs to come over a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So now that you have those all lined up, move on to the next piece. So in your box, you're gonna find 4 of these little gizmos. They're pretty cool, very simple, and you're gonna just back them out. Okay, so you're gonna back this out so that this can now open up. Now for these, you're gonna want this one, the ones that you put on the rod, on the outside of the rod, I should say. You're gonna want those to be as close to the handle pretty much as possible. All right, and I think I'm gonna want to make sure that this is lined up correctly as well. So if you look at the feet and look at this here, this guy right there, you're going to want to make sure that it lines up with how you want the foot to be. I want the foot to be a little bit forward. So we're going to tighten this up. There we go. And then lock that down. So that is held on there nice and tight. We're going to probably tighten that up a little bit more. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, love it. All right, 1 down, 3 to go. Now I will say, guys, you're not gonna want to over tighten it. Like, I actually made a mistake on this one. You can see the gap here. I need to be able to loosen that and bring it back to the wall here. But you're not gonna want to over tighten these. You know, this is possible to break, but definitely don't over tighten it. You're gonna want that one to line up with the other one. I like the ability to just do this once you have it tightened in. You can just start spinning that on there, get it nice and tight, and then just boom, done. That's freaking sweet. All right, everybody, now for what I like to consider a little piece of like foosball genius here. So they call these the pegs. These are the risers that we've already attached. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna install it. But what's really interesting is you're gonna see this groove here, guys. And take real good note of that groove, okay? So that groove coincides with the little bump you're gonna see right there. So we're gonna pull this out, and you wanna make sure you're pulling from the bottom, not the top. So you want the string to be coming from the bottom, all right? That is gonna go straight into the peg here, all right? And then you're gonna just kind of roll this up, all right? Just a couple times, just so that it gets on there nicely. And then we're just gonna pop that right in there. That's that simple, guys. It's really, really cool. Let's do it for the rest of them. And we're like 75% of the way done. All right, now that we have the first peg and riser set up, we need to get the second one. But what you're gonna see is that this won't reach, right? It's not gonna just pull straight. So we have to unravel it a couple times, right? To make sure that it will reach. Now, you wanna make sure you're pretty close, but give yourself a little bit of extra for that wrap, right? So we're gonna do the same thing we did before. We're gonna clip in where that piece can go right into the groove. We're gonna come out here, and we're just gonna wrap it a couple times. Give it a few wraps here, right? And get to the point, there we go. So it's nice and tight. We're just gonna drop that on in there. Perfect. All right. So now you're gonna see there's a little bit of play, right? Where this isn't perfectly tight. So now that's where this really comes into play. And this ratcheting system will allow for you to get it tight. Now, you're probably gonna have to do it on both sides. If I can get that one to ratchet, because I'm not smart. There we go. All right, and then a couple more times on this one. There we go. Now that is really, really nice and tight, guys. And that's exactly what we're looking for. So now I'm gonna duplicate this again on the 2-rod. All right, so just like we did before, we're gonna take, well, this is the top. We don't want it coming out the top, so that one goes over there. We want the one that goes on the bottom. Whoop. And that bad boy is gonna come over here. We're just gonna let this kind of wheel out a little bit. We're gonna drop it into the groove and just give it a couple loops. Drop it here. And we're getting more proficient every moment. Look out, people. It has begun. All right, now, this one obviously we have to get a lot more rope out, so to speak. So make sure you get a plenty of extra rope, guys, because this is gonna have to reach way over there, right? Oh, so we're gonna get this out of here. That's probably enough. Clip that in, and then give it a nice tight wind. Which is really cool that they have the grooves in there for it, guys. That's pretty sweet. So now, we're gonna let that come back out to here. We're gonna drop that right in. There we go. And again, as you can see, it's a little loose. This side's really nice and tight. This side's kind of loose, so we're just gonna ratchet that in. Boy, that is cool. All right, and I'm gonna make a little mini adjustment here, because as you can see, the foot is kind of down and forward. I'm gonna see if I can make that, yeah, there we go. Oh, wrong way. Make that, there we go. Go forward over there, and do that here with this one. So now the toes, boy, that's nice and tight, and we're all set up. All right, so these are good to go. Now we get to hook up the electronic part. All right, so we are now on to the final steps of putting this together. We just need to get the Cat 5 cables connected to the boxes here and connect the power. So each one of these boxes has the little Ethernet plug-in back here. We're gonna plug each of those in. And each of those is then gonna go to its own specific box. In this case, I'm just gonna plug those right in here. And now there's one last piece of this puzzle that's kind of cool, and you're gonna see that each of these has 2 power plugs. You see that there? Well, it comes pretty much with its own daisy chain, which is kind of cool. So you can plug this into one, plug this into the other, and then your power cable here is only gonna have to plug into one of these boxes. So that's pretty awesome, guys. Let's get this plugged in here, and then we're gonna fire this up and see what happens, because I don't know yet. We haven't done it. This is the first time. All right, in this case, I'm gonna plug it into this bottom one. We're gonna leave these stacked up, and you guys are gonna come with me under the table. So now we've got all this here. I think I'm gonna eventually make a box for all this, guys, so that we don't have all this craziness. I did run a extension cord to all of it, so we are good to go there. And, oh, we got stuff moving around. That's cool. All right, so after doing that, these have gotten really loose. So we're gonna retighten those. Wow, that was cool. They just started running on their own. So let's tighten this up. Maybe 2 clicks. This one's super loose, so. All right, that's pretty good. I don't know. I know you don't want them too tight, so we'll see. I think we're looking pretty good there. Next step is to go to the computer. All right, everybody, now that I have everything set up, I wanted to kind of go through the app with you a little bit. And technically it's really not an app, it's actually a website. It's foosflow.com, FOOSFLO.com. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're actually gonna click these configure buttons, or the connect buttons I should say, and make sure that the numbers line up on the boxes to the actual device location. So the box will have a number on it, make sure it's plugged into the one in the back, for example, and you'll connect that specific one to that specific rod. Now, once you have both of those connected, you'll go in and you will also link them together. So you're gonna click both of those buttons, and so now they are linked. And you want both rods to be linked together, because that tells you that it's the goalie area, okay? So after that, you've got really a couple different ways of working with this. Typically, I like to click config, go to the mode option, and then click on practice, okay? You're gonna see this little guy right there that's also gonna be big help here in the very near future. So once you do that, you're gonna click on the main image at the top, and this is gonna bring up the training options. This is gonna be the fastest way to get to defenses. So once you enter, you're gonna select on what you're working on. So we're gonna be working on our 3 row. I'm gonna be working on my pull shot. This is then going to bring up the lessons for the pull shot, okay? So I'm gonna wanna go over to lessons, and I wanna work on hitting the hole. You know what? Let's go with time the bobbing hole. That sounds a little bit more fun to me. So I'm an advanced person, I'm gonna go to advanced, and then we're gonna select the defense that we want. So do we want it regular or do we want it reverse? Let's go with reverse. So we've loaded the defense. So I can tell you that by looking at this that I forgot to actually configure the machines themselves, and that's because they're not lined up in the center. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit the little X button here. We're gonna go to calibrate, and you're gonna see that it has now calibrated. So now we're gonna go back to here. I'm gonna reload this just to be safe. And now we should be in good shape. We're gonna exit out of that. We're gonna come over back to this screen here. All right, and now we're gonna hit the play button. And look at that. It immediately goes into that reverse defense. If we wanna be done for a minute, go and hit the button again, oop, and then it'll stop. Another really cool feature is in the playback mode. So once you have it in playback mode, my goodness, I'm getting 1,000 requests all at once here. So once you're in the playback mode, you go to the playback control panel. This is pretty sweet. So you can actually go in here and record a defense. You can go over there and run the whole defense and record it and then play it back, or you can go into options. And in here, you find all of these great matches. So for example, this is Mario Arganello and King Gabriel versus Yor and Moreland. So when you click that, it's gonna bring down all of these down here. Click on one of those, and now we can load the attempts. So now that we've done that, we can go back. Ooh. We can go back and you're gonna see all the defensive choices here. We're gonna select one of those. It's gonna load into our playback option, and then we're gonna hit play. Oh, that's right, run a PB test. All right, playback test. We're gonna go with 1. And play. You heard the set. That means it's going to start to run the defense. And it will now run the defense, which is pretty cool. And it'll actually restart that defense for you, which I think is pretty cool. It'll even say set again and let you know that you're starting over. I think that's pretty awesome, guys. All right, guys, so Foos Fit. Install complete and ready to go. I'm gonna do a ton of videos on this, guys, because there's some really cool stuff. I can play D against myself, which is really awesome. I can run through defenses, record them, play them back. I can go up against a number of Pro Master defenses that are out there, all within the app. And there is still so much to show you guys. The install video here that I'm doing today is just to show you how easy this really is. When I first heard about it, I was very intimidated. I thought that this was gonna be far more complex to set up. It is super user-friendly. It is very easy to use once you kind of get everything going. It looks like there's a ton of menus and it can be confusing, but once you understand the purpose and the way that the app kind of flows, you really can go, oh, this is actually super easy. So if you have, you know, any kind of fears about that, I would say put those to the side. It's very simple to understand once you kind of get the basics of it. And watching this video, guys, should really help you be able to just do stuff with it almost right out of the box. So there are a bunch of things that we're gonna do down the road and show you how to do those as well. So just keep an eye out for those videos because they're coming, guys, and I've got a lot of them to do, so don't you worry. A couple things I want to touch on. I've now actually had this set up. I shot the rest of this video early and wanted to save the outro, which is now for for a good reason. I wanted to have this for a few days and really understand it a little better. And I would argue that this is probably the single most important thing for at-home practice that has come out maybe ever for foosball. That's a bold statement, and I understand that. And I don't want people to misunderstand what I think this is for. I think people, and I personally think anybody that wants to get to a really high level should probably get one of these. Now, what do I think this is absolutely fantastic for are gonna be people that don't have people to play against all the time. People that are those practice hounds. You know, they're always wanting to be practicing. This is gonna give you someone to play, so to speak. You can set up defenses, your own defenses, or if you have a buddy that like, oh man, I have a hard time scoring on him all the time, have him run a defense for a few seconds. Understand what, you know, have it run that back a bunch of times. You can now understand what they're doing. You can set up things that make you feel uncomfortable on the table and work on shooting against them. I mean, that is, the practice tool that this is far beyond anything I thought that it really was at first. Now, this is so far just set up in the goalie area. You can put this on the 5-rod. You can put this on the 3-rod. You can shoot against zones. You can set stuff up and have it shoot against, and you can shoot against those zones. The system is already set up for that, okay? There's already zones in the system itself, in the playback mode that you can use. Awesome. I haven't even scratched the surface of what this item is actually capable of doing, and I'm already beyond excited. So, you guys have probably already watched my basic review video. I know I'm kind of hammering it again, but this thing's out of this world. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really think that this item's important. I know it's pretty expensive, so make sure that you check it out, Foos Fit. But I would argue heavily it's probably the best thing you can get, especially if you're just trying to get better. So check it out guys, Foos Fit. Until next time everybody, happy foosing.